Okay, we on there? Mic on?
Should be. Yeah.
That better?
No, your switch must be on.
Am I good?
Your switch in front of you.
Which is on?
Sure. Yeah. Hello. Hang on. Somebody might have kicked the volume. That happens. Oh, that better?
Yeah. Okay. Welcome, everyone, to our September 14th, 2023 Town Board meeting. I'm Mike Crowley here tonight. And if you would, please rise. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, as many of you know, we have a public access at the beginning and we have one at the end of the meeting. So with that, I'll open the meeting right up now. If we have any visitors who wish to speak, have you come forward, maybe state your name and address.
I printed it out. It's hard for that.
We gotta make sure we get everything, we get the minutes here, so.
Supervisor Harrington, Richard Choppy, members of the town board and department heads. My name is Joe Thune. I reside at 2704 Brunswick Meadows Way. I became a town resident 2.5 years ago. I'm the treasurer on the board of directors of the Brunswick Meadows Community Owners Association. My job on behalf of the 92 owners of Brunswick Meadows, among other things, is to sign the checks and pay the bills. I've been paying out large sums of their money to repair broken sewer pipes installed by Piggly-Vento subcontractors. At one point, Mr. Golden stated that the pipes were most likely broken upon construction because he didn't see any solid gravel or crusher run before the concrete slab had been poured. That cost our residents $11,200. I've also paid out large sums of residents' money to mitigate, repair, and restore condos whose fire suppression pipes burst over the last couple of winters due to poor installation by a Piggly-Vento subcontractor. The cost to our residents was $64,000. That forced us to inspect all the condos, especially above the garages, and decided that the blown insulation was the wrong type of insulation to be used, since blown insulation settles about 25%, and it exposed the fire suppression pipes to the cold air coming through the soffits above the garage. To avoid more costly repairs, we decided to replace the vented soffits and installed insulation that helped prevent cold air from hitting the pipes. That cost to our residents was $94,000. At that point, we had to assess each owner $1,100 to rebuild the reserve. It's really unusual to have to assess owners in such a new development. We then had multiple condos report different severities of roof leaks due to poor installation by Piggly-Vento roof subcontractor. So far, the worst roof leak was in a unit where the rain came through the ridge vent down on the ceiling and ruined the ceiling. There was also flashing missing on the side of the dormer. That cost residents $4,400. We then decided it would be prudent to have the remainder of the roofs inspected in order to get a better idea as to whether this was just a single Piggly-Vento subcontractor error or if it was systemic. We certainly couldn't afford to have any more serious roof damage since we used our reserves for the insulation issue. Well, unfortunately, all the ridge vents have not been installed properly. So we have to have that done. That's going to cost $63,000. Assuming we can catch the problem before it turns into more serious leaks. If I were in your place, I probably wouldn't allow Piggly-Vento to build any more buildings in our town, but that's just one man's opinion. The residents of Brunswick Meadows currently pay approximately $180,000 in school taxes minus any discounts, and we pay approximately $180,000 in property taxes minus any discounts. We have 2 children that go to school, and so that doesn't put a burden on the school system. And for our property taxes, the residents enjoy the use of town roads, the recycling center, Brunswick Library, Brunswick Beach, primarily after 3 o'clock on weekdays when the summer camp ends, and we may attend the summer concerts. Some of these services are necessary and some are not, but they're all very much appreciated. What the residents of Brunswick Meadows need for their tax dollars is for the town to legally take over the repair, maintenance, and resurfacing of our half mile of roadway. So instead of the town being responsible for 144 miles of roadway, it would increase to 144 and a half. As you know from visiting, Brunswick Meadows Way is currently in great shape. And according to the offering plan, the road should last for 15 years. By that time, the town will have collected in today's dollars approximately $2,700,000 in property taxes. According to the offering plan, the road at Brunswick Meadows' original cost was $102,455 with a lifespan of 15 years. At 15 years at an average rate of inflation, the road will cost approximately $162,000 to $163,000 to resurface. So, as we residents pay for broken sewer lines, broken fire suppression systems, insulation, and bridge vents, we are hopeful, very hopeful, that the town will legally acquire Brunswick Meadows Way. And if we could get that approval within the next month, we would avoid costly commercial snow plowing contract this winter. So on behalf of the residents of Brunswick Meadows, we want to thank you for your time.
Well, Bill, I've been here about 30 years, and I will say, that's got to be one of the best presentations I've ever heard. You even got a mile of road now, sometimes I try to remember what they are, you know?
I heard you say it once.
Yeah, I hope I got it right. You did an excellent job. It's highly unusual. I'm short 2 members tonight. I mean, sometimes I miss one. Sometimes, most of the time there's 5 of us, but there's only 3 of us here tonight. So I certainly got to get their input and see what they think of this. I do understand. I wanted more condominiums. In the old days, I say the old days, many people that I went to school with a few years ago, their parents came to me and said, we got a lot of single-family homes in this town, and we're getting older. We don't want to move out of Brunswick, but we can't take care of these homes. And that was when we started looking at apartments and condominiums. The idea of the condominiums, and in the meantime, I couldn't build them fast enough, so my Sunday school teacher, I still remember, Miss Doris Schaefer, Mrs. Schaefer, yelling at me. They have no doors or out. They had to move to Lansingburg, and they never let me forget that, so, because we didn't have the options. But I understand the idea of the condominium for some place for, I'm going to say our seniors, I think I can say that because I'm a senior a long time ago maybe, to be able to move in and have some maintenance free and be able to maybe go to Florida in the winter or go someplace. And I know there has been a challenge over there because my building inspector tells me, and I've been there sometimes when the fire companies had frozen pipes and stuff, so I've seen that. But that whole project, if I remember, was approved as a PDD. And part of the PDD was the roads would remain private and stuff. So there's a process we need to follow. Tom, you're the attorney, is that correct?
Yes, it is. It is a planned development district, and that would require that the findings and the resolution and everything that was involved in the PDD be amended. There's a process to it.
So when you say, hopefully we get next month, nothing in this, that's one thing that drives me crazy with politics. Being a farmer, I like to do everything tomorrow. It doesn't happen in government that way. Still drives me a little crazy, so.
What do we have to do on our part to get the ball moving?
Well, I think the first decision you have to make is whether you're going to entertain it, because certainly, there's no obligation that it be entertained. If they decide they're going to entertain it, then there is a process, and we'll go through that in detail if it gets to that stage. But I don't know, usually when we have a PDD, this is a PDD amendment. So the process to go through PDD amendment is the same as for a regular PDD, starting from scratch. So it starts with a sketch plan conference, and then it goes to, we appoint experts, because we appoint a special counsel, we appoint an engineering firm, and then what you want to do is review. Now, this is a little bit different, because what you're asking for is the change of ownership of the roads.
Right.
Now, I don't know what exactly other issues might come up, like you say that the roads are in excellent condition. I've been in there, I have a relative who lives in there, they look nice. But, I don't know that they were built to town highway department standards. We do have requirements in our town code that govern our acceptance and dedication of roadways. So there is a process to it, and
There was one stumbling block that I wanted to clear up, because it's not really a
Come up and
stumbling.
grab that mic again, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
This town clerk doesn't like to miss anything.
There was one stumbling block that I wanted to clear up. When you first drive down Brunswick Meadows Way and take a right-hand turn, building 39 and 41, it was thought that there isn't a turnaround for a snowplow. And there actually is a turnaround, but it's not at the end of the street, it's between the two homes. And when whoever drove down to check it out, the cars parked there. So they wouldn't be parked there during the wintertime, so there would be a turnaround for the snowplows.
I remember looking at that when they were building that, and saying, where's the turnaround? So I remember the
It's
turnaround.
between the two houses.
You're right.
yeah, so do you have a copy of what you read, or is that just your notes, because we could
So
share?
that was off the top of my head.
We'll just ask you to dictate it again. Thanks.
Probably too late to kick your name and run for supervisor. I'm kind of happy with that. The guy's pretty impressive. I feel for you, I really do. And I drove around, I mean, visually to me, it looks like the roads aren't bad. I mean, a quick thing that I thought was minor. When we put our salt out, we use salt and sand mixture. We don't have usually pure salt. And I got this vision of us going in, putting sand, and you people driving their cars in the garage and then walking in the house with dirt on your feet, but that's kind of minor.
I promise we'll wipe our feet.
I might be able to put salt on the truck or something. Again, this is why the attorney, he used to sit out there and I come up with some statements and he moved next to me now, so I gotta make sure I follow the legal stuff, so. Thank you for the presentation, so we'll bring the rest of the board up to speed and go from there. Okay? Thanks, Bill. Come on up, young lady. Gotta have your name, in case we don't know you.
All right. Jennifer Mann, 91 Hill Road. I have a small list today. I think it's since we met last time that young man died tragically on a motorcycle on Hoosick.
Yep.
And a couple that lives really near there, wanted me, since they know I come to the meetings, to just make the board aware to do what you can about it, that there is a big problem with people driving very fast down the center lane, just trying to cheat the traffic, and it is very, very dangerous. So just to make you aware of that. The residents in Sickaway are really happy with the work you guys did, painting lines by the stop signs and slow on the road. And they're very appreciative and say thank you. And a couple of residents were asking, so this was in the Genesee, Norfolk, Otsego area. Some residents were wondering if you were planning on doing the same on the south side of Hoosick, and they would love that to happen.
On the other side of the center, the answer is yes.
Great, that sounds excellent. And then lastly, if anybody would like a Save Burdette Birth Care Center sign, I have them in my car. Thank you.
Which we passed a resolution supporting, Jen, so,
Thank you.
all right. Anybody else at this point? All right, sir,
Good, how are you?
tip that up, you're a little taller.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Matthew May, I live at 20 Winfield Lane, Troy, New York, 12180. I was coming in tonight to see if we had any updates from our discussions from our meeting on August 10th, 2023 regarding Winfield Lane.
The update, if I remember, what I mentioned was I wanted to do it right. And doing it right means maybe grinding it up and doing it correctly. So what I promised was I would do it next year. I'm on record doing it next year. So for paving, that's the way I left it, I believe.
Okay, in terms of drainage.
Yeah.
Has anything been done about that? I know we were talking about soliciting an engineer to possibly get in there and look about a retention pond. Other things, has anything been looked at since August 10th?
Bill or Mike, you want to talk about the drainage up there?
And what,
You did something on the drainage, right? You went up there and,
well, I lowered a couple of the catch basin covers.
Yep.
After we get 10 feet away from that catch basin I worked on, we had no right of way to move down that slope any further. So,
Next question is this, I have some old correspondence here from planning board dated April 20th, 2005, 2006. I'll read this out to you real quick. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing be held, planning board, town of Brunswick, held on May 18th, 2006 at 6:45 PM, town hall, Brunswick, New York, to review the major subdivision application submitted by Cobblestone Associates for a proposed 9-lot subdivision off Bolson Road and Tamble Lane. This application has been modified and now includes a total of 3 lots off the existing cul-de-sac off Winfield Lane Estates and 6 lots directly off Tamble Lane. Was this modification part of phase 1 or phase 2? Because going back to, I have a correspondence from George L. Culling, PE Engineers, Consulting Engineers, stating that all leach areas, curtain drains, house foundation drains, wells, driveways, roadways, and drainage must be constructed and shown on this plan unless a new plot or plan of overall plan is prepared by New York State licensed engineer and approved by the Rensselaer County Department of Health and the Town of Brunswick Planning Board. So when that modification was put in to add these 3 lots, where did the town approve this new drainage plan?
it'd be a planning board
Yeah,
issue, you know?
it sounds like you're reading from a public hearing notice.
Right.
This is the public hearing notice. but
Public
then I
hearing,
also
going
have-
before the planning board, not the town board, so.
So
they
this is a
certainly would
planning board
consider-
issue?
Yeah, I think it's from the planning, from your look at it.
That's really, I just wanted to know like where we stood since the last meeting, if any action has been taken. I know that we were talking about there was a 50-foot easement off of the cul-de-sac there. And then 51st is my responsibility. So I'm still dealing with that. My question is, my neighbor, there's new houses in there. He just dropped an 16-inch culvert pipe right at the 51st foot. So now I have tens of thousands of gallons of water being pushed into a 16-inch pipe, which creates a lot more flow and velocity, which is now eating even more out of my driveway. So who approved that pipe being put in?
where is this, I'm sorry.
That is, if you're looking where the drain grate that you guys just put in,
Yeah.
right where the guardrail is, so 51 feet past that.
Chuck, how's that?
That's not- that's
through the
not-
building? No.
So it says here though,
Driveway permit for new construction, we take in the permit and hand it to the highway.
Okay.
okay, so
The gentleman that owns the land has the right to put drainage on his property, and that's outside of.
but according to this, that all foundations, drains, wells, driveways, drains must be constructed as shown on the plan and approved by the planning board. So I guess I'll come back to the planning board meeting and address this.
That would definitely be in their purview.
Thank you.
I know we went up this patching, I know it's not real pretty, Matt, but
No, not, I mean, especially if it's like this gentleman over here, very eloquently stated how much money we pay in taxes. And
Yeah.
I could do a synopsis just like he did on what we're paying Winfield Lane,
yeah.
but I'll have that for the planning board meeting.
Okay, anybody else at this point? Want to come up? Like I said, public access, that's and two. All right, we'll roll right into here, so. Minutes of the previous, meeting?
Nope. Not completed.
Oh, you don't have them done, so we can't approve them, huh?
No, sir.
All right, how about a town clerk report for Mr. Lewis?
Yes, sir. Okay. August income. We had $8,105.50 will be remitted. $4,478 in recycling sales between the center and the office. $1,500 in rental fees, that's 10 community center reservations. $700 in dog licenses. We had $1,426 in miscellaneous fees, which included $495 in vital statistics, $50 for peddler permit. And we actually made some money on DEC this time because we sold $11,924 worth of licenses. Our cut was $661. And we had $220 in dog impoundment fees and fines. Those are pretty much a pass through to the shelter. A few notes. Of course, it was huge for hunting. That's going to continue. Hopefully this month will be good too. The hazardous waste day is this Saturday. Hopefully you're registered because it is full. And
How many people we end up with?
I believe it was 200 from Brunswick. And there were a couple other places that were in with this, so it's probably going to be more in the neighborhood of 300. 350?
250 people?
No, 350.
350 people?
Yes.
Between 8 and,
Well,
between 8 and 12?
That's going to run a little. That's going to run a little late, I think.
40 cars an hour.
Plus recycle.
And recycling is open.
Mike, you working with these people and make sure we get the highway
Yes, sir.
area in pretty good shape?
Yeah.
Okay.
So hopefully you registered, and if you have, you should have received a notification from the county, either by phone or email, as to what time they would like you to show up. There's a window they give you. I think it's about a half-hour window. If you haven't heard from them, you can call them. I have the number, we have it at the office, or I'll give it to you now. It's 518-270-2888. That's the county, and that would be Ann Shaughnessy, if you haven't heard back from them on your time slot. Lastly, we're urging residents to continue registering their vehicles for our recycling, which will also count for the beach next year. That was the 2-year sticker. We're not fully rolled out on the recycling issue as far as requiring the sticker, but we are starting to look for them. It will be in place completely in the future, probably beginning of next year. We'll be pretty well under control. So please stop by, get your stickers, bring your registration, bring your ID, and registration for as many cars that are in your household. You may never know which one you're going to use. Okay, that's about it.
All right, motion to approve Bill's report.
I'll make it.
You have a second? I'll second it. All in favor? Highway Department, Mr. Bailey.
How you doing, gentlemen? The August highway report. Patching, we had 5 men for 5 days. Brush pickup, we had 6 men for 4 days. For the monthly pickup. We're doing some cleaning out of trucks and stuff like that. Had a couple men being handling trucks for a couple days. Our beach camp got over, so we had to go down, pull all the tables out, pull all the docks out, put all the boats away, put the beach away for the winter. So that was one day for 4 men. John Spiak has spent 6 days boom mowing on the different roadsides and mowing. Rod has been mowing ball fields. We've got 6 days of mowing ball fields, cemeteries, our town lands. Recycle falls, we had 1 man has 8 days now. Recycling has become extraordinarily busy. It seems like the residents are using it a lot. Ends up being that at least once a week, they pull 3 or 4 dumpsters out of there. Become a very busy place for your residents. We did one day, 3 men cleaning out catch basins with the back truck. And the big deal this month, we did a lot of ditching. We had 3 men for 10 days doing ditching. Putting in culverts on Woodland Street, East Street, Morrison. And we're lucky to have a gentleman that's a pretty good carpenter. He did some trim work in the offices here for one day and a couple of days for the Historical Society. Our recycling officer, he went on vacation, so we had to man his office for the week, one of the guys. The paving, we ended up paving Westbrook and Overlook, and Arthur and part of Wager Road. We found sealed quite a bit of estimates development.
We paved those roads in-house with our pavers.
They were in-house, that's correct. It takes the whole crew for those days, which saves a huge amount of money. About 50% savings by doing it ourselves. The crew has really come a long way. Kevin Anders has spent a lot of time with the other older gentlemen in the crew, teaching the younger guys how to run the machinery. And the knowledge of passing back and forth is huge, and been a great learning experience for all the younger guys how to handle all that equipment. So then we also did some box sealing, trying to seal the roads up, keep them alive for another couple of years. It's a little bit expensive, but it does add 3-4 years to roads that are in relatively good shape. Spring landing with that road.
Box seal is like doing your driveway with a seal, correct? Fills the cracks,
A little more,
same idea.
same idea, but it actually sinks into the pavement and waterproofs it a little bit. It's adds some time, gives me a chance to get to them to fix something more time. I guess that's my report for you.
Okay. Any questions for Mike?
I'll make a motion to accept. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Water Department, Mr. Bradley?
Thank you. Good evening. Water and sewer report for August. Guess we do have enough water, haven't we, out there? As a farmer, you're probably wishing that the rain would
Yeah, it's
stop.
time to turn it off now.
Time to turn it off, yeah.
Get the crops in.
There's been a lot of water. So, we mailed the water and sewer bills out. We've had a few complaints from residents that said they haven't received them. They don't think the United States Postal Service is quite as reliable as it used to be. So maybe next year, I can do a report. Right now it's sorted by account number, but if I sorted it by name, we can post it online and people can look up the bills. That might help. Some people, they say, well, we didn't receive it, at least to know whether we got, like a tax, tax.
Well, I can tell you I didn't get my school tax bill, but I did.
Yeah. So, we have to do some improvements there. There's 2 solar fields under construction right now. We're visiting those sites to ensure compliance with stormwater regulations. There's a third one, Tamarack Solar. They're getting geared up and just trying to get them on track with the last pieces of paper that they need to do in order to start their project. Let's see here. There's been, just as a general note, there's a major change in the definition of the waters of the United States, which impacts the many wetlands in this country. There's just 2 Supreme Court cases that were decided in the last year, and the EPA has followed up with the decisions from those Supreme Court cases and changed the definitions of the waters of the United States. And the biggest impact from that is that many of these smaller wetlands that were under the Army Corps jurisdiction will no longer be under Army Corps jurisdiction. Some of them will in 2025 fall under New York State's jurisdiction, but there's going to be many smaller wetlands that will be at this particular point in time. They're not at any protection. And I'd just like to say that, you know, the wetlands are still a very important part of our ecology and how the whole web of life works. And I would encourage anybody not to fill in their wetlands or do anything along those lines. But things are changing, and it will have an impact potentially on development potential, because when these wetlands go over to the New York State side, there's a 100-foot buffer. So that will have a greater impact on some people and their uses of wetlands that might be close to their homes or businesses. And I'm working on the framework for identifying the lead service lines, and so we can hit the ground running coming like the new year and try to get this stuff all documented. What we need to do for that. So that's about it. Any questions? Right.
Thanks, Bill. I'll make a motion to approve Bill's report. I made it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Golden, Superintendent of Utilities and Inspection.
Good evening, gentlemen. This is a report from the building department for August 2023. We had 100 building and property inspections, 335 active building permits, 25 permits issued or renewed, 12 meetings, 2 planning board meetings, 1 zoning board meeting, 0 court cases, 1 fire inspection, 7 follow-up code call inspections, 2 code call-outs with their inspections, 11 code complaints, 11 code complaint inspections, 1 vacant property identified, 4 planning board projects, 3 zoning board projects, and 8 FOIL request searches received, as well as zoning inquiries. We have lost our other inspector. Mike McDonald has retired. So that the guy's a pretty good carpenter. Thank you. Interested? We're going to have to find some. So. That is a report for the building department. Any questions?
Thank you. Make a motion. Gordy made a motion to approve Chuck's report.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chaffee, Town Attorney.
Yeah, this past month, I attended and participated in meetings with staff and outside council in various matters at town office or by conference call or remote meeting on August 16, August 17, August 18, August 24, August 25, August 31, September 5, September 6, September 7, September 8, and September 13. I prepared the resolutions which are on the agenda for this evening. I've been continuing to work with outside counsel on a recently commenced pending litigation matter. I've been continuing to work with a law firm engaged by our insurance carrier to represent the town with respect to some other pending litigation. And working with outside counsel and our consultants regarding matters pertaining to utility scale solar collector systems and moratorium on such projects. And working with the building department regarding some pending and prospective enforcement matters, and working with the supervisor's office on some personnel matters, and working with the supervisor's office on some purchasing issues. Been engaged in discussions with some developers and representatives pertaining to potential planned development, district and rezoning applications being made to the town board. Been working on an appeal pending before the zoning board of appeals where I represent the town's code enforcement officer. I participated in a closing regarding certain financing secured by the volunteer fire company of Center Brunswick Inc. in connection with its purchase of a new fire truck. I prepared and submitted a budget submission to the town attorney's office in connection with the preparation of the 2024 tentative budget. And as always, I performed legal research, provided legal opinions, and reviewed and prepared legal documents as requested by town officials and employees.
Any questions for Tom? I'll make a motion to approve Tom's report.
I'll second.
Gordy, second. All in favor? Aye. Town historian, Tracy.
Good evening. This month I have been continuing to do research on the families that are buried at Forest Park because we're getting ready for our annual walkthrough come October 21st, which you can sign up there on the Brunswick Historical's website. We just need to get a number of how many, just so we're not blindsided with a lot of people like we were that one year. I've started to do a little research into Cropseyville. Cropseyville was named after Valentine Cropsey. His family settled there in the 1800s. Mr. Cropsey became a very prominent person in town. He purchased a small grist mill from Henry Klum. After making many improvements, it became well known through the area. He was also involved in helping to organize the Presbyterian Church. Along with that, Cropseyville had a few businesses that were unique to other places in town. The Blue Factory, which was located on South Road, that was built by two men by the name of Portland Field and Israel Howe. In 1700, they came by horseback from Vermont through the Grafton Mountains looking for the right place to make a Prussian blue pigment that was used for paints and dyes and patent leather. They found the perfect location near the Quackenkill, and this was important because they needed clear water and a large supply of timber in order to make the potash that was needed for this process. Years later, Samuel Davis bought the factory, and it continued to be a successful business for 5 generations. Over time, the plant grew into a large factory, and it was one of only 2 in the United States at the time that made this type of pigment. Over the years, the material ran out, and the owners had to look for other alternatives. Right before World War I, they were getting some of their supplies from Germany. But once the war started, the trade had stopped, and they were back to where they were with limited supplies. After the war, modern science found an easier way to make the blue pigment and started the decline of the factory, and by 1914, it was closed. And some of the other interesting things I found in the 1854 map of Brunswick, it shows that there was a cradle factory, which it's not what you think. It was a place where they manufactured implements for the farmer to use to cut oats and rye by hand. The cradle was something like a scythe. I think I pronounced that right. There was also a tannery, a woolen factory, a cotton factory, sash and blind factory, along with many other businesses. There was a village saloon run by George McChesney, which was located on the corner of Route 2 and Farmer Market Road, and that is where 6 used to be, which is now, it's going to, there is a new restaurant for the left name.
Still, yeah.
Yeah, so that's it, gentlemen.
Excellent, thank you. Very nice.
Motion approved. Tracy's report?
I'll make it. I'll second.
All in favor? I hope you people, when you came in tonight, noticed the beautiful flowers out in front. That young lady right there is responsible for that, so. Tracy? I don't do Facebook, but people send me Facebook stuff. And some lady said that the Harrington spends a lot of time going around town spreading cow manure. I will say, I put some cow manure on those flowers out there, no charge, but but Tracy does a beautiful job every single year with these flowers, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Thank you. All right, recycling, Tom.
Good evening. Recycling for the month of August. Blue bags purchased at the center, 482 at $3 for $1,446. Blue bags purchased from vendors, 800 for $2,040. Purple bags purchased at the center, 184 at $2 for $368. Our metal, light iron, and tin, 2.259 tons at $156 a gross ton for $43. Bale cord cardboard, 5.38 tons for $107. Car batteries, 0.323 tons at 16 cents a pound for $103. Miscellaneous large and small appliances, we had 18. 20 TVs, 1 AC, 4 tires, and 3 dehumidifiers for $517. That gave us revenues of $4,625. Expenses, refuse landfill, 23.53 tons at $85 a ton. Cost $200 for the pole and $40 for the fuel for $1,999. Single screen recycled 11.6 tons at $50 a ton for $580. Mixed household batteries, we had 0.70 tons at 90 cents a pound for $1,625. Car and truck tires, 2.31 tons at $520 each for $1,354. And that gave us expenses of $5,559. We recycled in landfill for the month of August 44.10 tons.
Busy.
Very busy.
Excellent. Make a motion to approve Tom's report. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Mark? All in favor? All right, last but not least, Sarah, you're always very interesting. I keep it toward the end there. So.
That's
Our
okay.
Brunswick Community Library.
All right, so for August, we had, I'm here with my board member tonight, Alex Duggan. Thank you, Alex, for being here. For the month of August, we had 3,156 library visitors. We answered 371 records questions. Our Wi-Fi was used by 192 unique users, an average of 20 people per day. Our study spaces were used 168 times, and we finished up our summer reading. We read 4,205 hours together, and we handed out 377 reading prizes to our readers, so they did a great job. For checkouts, we checked out 8,368 items. A lot of that is also skyrocketing because of our Newsbank subscription, which gets Brunswick residents free access to the Times Union online. We started with about 300 reads per month.
Wow.
Now we have almost 2,000 reads a month. So it's a really great service. If you know people who haven't taken advantage of it yet, they need to have a library card to use it. It's not available to everyone in the library system, just to Brunswick residents. That's something we pay special for, but it gets Brunswick residents free Times Union online, and it saves people a lot of money. So it's been one of our most popular services. It's really gone off the charts.
Excellent.
For programs, our programs were attended 669 times last month. We had kids dance, we had an herb class taught by a master gardener, we had art journaling, bridge club, our night book club, our digital read along. Coming up, things that we are very excited to share. On September 23rd from 12 to 4 is our Fall Fest. We will have a book sale, bake sale, local artists and crafters. We will have the Moose on the Loose food truck. At 1 p.m., we'll have live Indian music performed by Devesh and Ina Shanta, thanks to a grant from the Art Center. And at 3 p.m., we'll have a live reptile show put on by a local person from Uncharted Wild. And September 29th, we will have our first poetry circle, which is also going to be run by somebody local. That will be at 3 o'clock. September 30th, we have another Tinkergarten class, also run by a local Tinkergarten teacher at 10:30. October 6th, a local artist, equestrian artist Sandy Monahan, is having an artist reception. She will have her paintings hung up at our library for about a month. The art reception will run from 4:30 to 6 p.m. And a lot of people have been asking about this one. Our next children's clothing swap will run from October 13th, which is a Friday, all the way through October 16th. So this one is going to run Friday, Saturday, and Monday. That way families that work late hours will have an easy time getting here. So it will be running on Saturday as well. And because it does happen at the beginning of October, we encourage families to bring old Halloween costumes so that children can have a pick of new, fresh Halloween costumes for this season. And that is everything I have for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very, very good. Thank you, sir. All right, motion for library report? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, resolution. Mr. Lewis?
Yep. All right, resolution number 45 for 2023. Resolution accepting bid, awarding contract, and authorizing supervisor to execute the contract on behalf of the town of Brunswick. It's for grinding and removal of brush and wood stockpiled at 2 locations.
This is to grind up all the brush that we go around and pick up, brush pickup. We take a lot of it off to the former landfill, and DEC is quite adamant that we can just use it temporarily, so we grind at least once a year. And part of the contract is whoever gets the contract has to draw it and give it off the site, because the landfill is closed. It's a little expensive, but we already ground once this year, right? This is the second time.
All right.
For brush.
That was this time last year.
Was it last year?
Okay. Once a year in the fall like this.
$44,000 to grind, give you an idea. So we go around, pick up the brush, and then we have to grind it, so. All right, go ahead.
Roll call, foregoing resolution offered by Councilman Christian, seconded by Councilman Balistrary. Roll call, Councilman Sifferly absent, Councilman Christian.
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan absent, Councilman Balistrary.
Aye.
Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution 46, 2023. Resolution accepting application for amendment of the zoning law of the town of Brunswick, appointing consulting engineer and special secret counsel, and referring application to the planning board and the Rensselaer County Department of Economic Development and Planning. This is Matapato Limited. It's a vacant land located at 291 Oakwood Ave, parcel number 80.00-2-2.12.
I'll offer it. I'll second.
Resolution was offered by Councilman Christian, seconded by Councilman Balistrary. Roll call vote. Councilman Sifferly absent. Councilman Christian. Councilman Sullivan absent. Councilman Balistrary.
Councilman Balistrary.
Councilman Balistrary. Aye. Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution 47, 2023. Resolution acknowledging receipt of Plan Development District Amendment Sketch Plan submission, scheduling sketch plan conference, and appointing town legal and engineering consultants for Brunswick Square Plan Development District. That's Walmart store number 2370, New York State Route 7 and Chestnut Avenue.
I'll offer it.
Chuck, want to come up? Tell us quickly, this is something that Walmart's looking to change from their PDD, right?
Yes.
So you want a spot here,
Yep.
people are wondering what's going on.
In that,
Oh, grab that mic.
In that the Walmart was a PDD, it can only be changed by the town board to have an amendment to that PDD. The amendment which they are seeking is to allow for outdoor sales of their garden equipment in the springtime. This is something that has been happening for as long as I can remember, but it's not allowed with the PDD, as well as changing the parking such that all of the north end of the parking will be for pickup. Customer pickup of pre-gathered orders. They have put a sliding glass door into the north end of the building with coolers right there, and they expect to bring all of the food out. Where it previously, the pickup for the takeout orders was in the front of the store, that is where they would like to have the lawn and garden in the spring. And actually, I think it was yesterday, they were taking out that the overhang that they had there. So that's been removed, and they expect to use that area for the lawn and garden sales and have all the parking to the north. So impact on the site is parking, traffic flow through the site, and this also will include the storage containers. They are looking at, I believe, putting in 17 10 by 53 foot Connex is what I call Connex, which is short for container export, or one of the big shipping containers. They're planning on having 17 of those there from August till February, which is what they use for their seasonal storage for the Christmas holidays. That is proposed to be right about where the construction trailers are now.
Sounds pretty major. Mr. Chaffee, what, this resolution just moves it to the next step?
This is the start of either a planned development district application or an amendment of an existing planned development district. This happens to be an amendment of an existing PDD, planned development district. So what this does, the first step under our 2017 zoning law for a PDD or an amendment is to schedule a sketch plan conference. The applicant has to submit a sketch plan showing what he wants to do, or it wants to do. And then we schedule a sketch plan conference. And this resolution goes on to appoint our legal and engineering consultants. And it makes referrals to the planning board and planning board and the county. So this is the start of the process. And if you notice at the paragraph 5 of the resolution that you're going to be adopting, we've scheduled a sketch plan conference. Or this resolution, if you adopt it, schedules a sketch plan conference for October 12, 2023 at 6:30 before the town meeting.
Okay. Very good.
Okay, we already had a motion and a second. So roll call vote. Councilman Sifferly is absent. Councilman Christian.
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan is absent. Councilman Ballasteri.
Aye.
Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 48, 2023. Resolution adopting revised sexual harassment policy and complaint form and amending Town of Brunswick employee handbook personnel policy.
I'll second it.
Foregoing resolution offered by Councilman Christian, seconded by Councilman Ballasteri. Roll call vote. Councilman Sifferly absent. Councilman Christian.
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan absent. Councilman Ballasteri.
Aye.
Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted. And lastly, Resolution 49, 2023. Resolution declaring items to be surplus property.
This is some highway equipment that would offer for sale, correct?
Correct. I'll second it.
Foregoing resolution offered by Councilman Christian, seconded by Councilman Ballasteri. Roll call. Councilman Sifferly absent. Councilman Christian.
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan absent. Councilman Ballasteri.
Aye.
Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted.
All right. Any correspondence, Bill?
I do not.
Any old business? New business?
I have one thing.
Yeah.
So everybody's aware there's gonna be a nationwide wireless emergency alert and emergency alert system test. So it's gonna come over all your cell phones, all your broadcasting, radio, TV, everything on October 4th at 2:18 p.m. The scheduled backup date is October 11th, 2023. Same time, they do that in case there's other events going on during October 4th, like hurricanes and things like that. So everybody's aware, everything you have is gonna ring at 2:18 on October 4th.
What's the second date, the main date?
October 11th.
Thank you.
I gotta think, I'd like to mention, Springbrook, the other night we had a structure fire, a home. Very, very fortunate. It was like a bathroom fan, old timer fan, that one of the heat things. They had a problem with it the day before, it burned. I think the homeowner thought it was all okay and was out. Unfortunately, it was not, and the heat, over 24 hours, got up in the attic and created a fire. And luckily, the homeowners weren't home, they were over a soccer game. The neighbor saw smoke coming out of the ceiling, the roof, and called 911. I just want to say I did go down myself. The only reason I'm mentioning that is our volunteer fire company, I just want to tell you, saved that house. It was amazing. Put the ladder truck up on top. buckwheated and had to chop a hole in the roof, because I said, the minute they do that, it's gonna rain all night long, but Mark was one of the firemen I saw there in the house, he might have been the second one on scene, right, or first. Anyway, they got in there, as they mentioned, I was talking to the homeowner, and they came back out, the assistant chief of Brunswick said, we saved the house, but it doesn't look too pretty. They had to go in, chop holes in the kitchen, get that thing out, but what happened is, a lot of cosmetic, but they saved the house. It was very, very impressive. So I just want to say thank you and acknowledge all these firemen. They worked excellent together. Correct, Mark? I mean, it was you, but
No,
it was a nice save.
It's a team effort with all the departments and they do excellent when they get together in Brunswick, so it's definitely a team effort.
I went home and I really appreciated my house. I did look, I got one of those old fans myself, you know. So make sure your smoke alarms work.
You'll have it in the newsletter, but a good idea is always changing your batteries on your smoke detectors
I don't
and CO detectors when you change the clocks twice a year.
Now, I'm really putting this guy on the spot. I shouldn't do this, but I do things I shouldn't do. Again, I don't get out much, so I'm not going out one night a month, right? Mr. Bonesteel, what's the status on that Route 7 study? Wayne's our engineer. I know he's been working with the committee on Route 7. I know I put you on the spot. You weren't prepared for this, but just briefly.
I'm always prepared when I.
All right, okay. I feel bad, buddy. You never know what I'm gonna ask, right?
The Route 7 corridor study is ongoing. We've been having technical advisory committee meetings once a month. That committee includes a representative from DOT, me representing the town, the Capital District, now they call it the Capital Region Transportation Committee, and the consultant that was hired to put the study together. There has been one public outreach session. It's been done remotely online. We did have one pop-up public session in front of Price Chopper that was well attended. We got a lot of good information from the public at that meeting. The data came back from the online poll where residents could go online and put their comments in and answer questions. They had over 1,000 hits on that, which was pretty incredible for that type of outreach and online poll. Currently, the data gathering, the existing conditions work is all done. There was one study advisory committee meeting. The study advisory committee is made up of some residents, business owners, DOT, the county, planning board chairman is a part of that committee. And that was a really good discussion at that committee on putting ideas together about how to move this study forward. Right now, in our next technical advisory committee meeting, we are formulating recommendations for improvements along the Route 7 corridor to relieve congestion, provide additional safety, make it more of a multimodal route perhaps. All the data is in. They've completed some of the studies, like on the signal timing, the studies on what the real numbers are on Hoosick Street and what the delays are. And now we're formulating how to improve the flow of traffic on Route 7, as well as look at some of the neighborhoods off of Route 7 as well. That includes the north side Sickaway and the south side Sickaway, as well as up McChesney Avenue. So the next study advisory committee will be coming up soon. I would think within a month or two, depending on the consultant's ability to get the data and the recommendations to that committee together. So it's moving forward. There's been a lot of good discussion. There will be one more public outreach. So the public will have a chance to review the recommendations that the committee makes before the final report comes out.
Excellent. Thank you. That wasn't bad, you're pretty good too.
I did okay.
Yeah, you did all right. I figured you'd get up and speak a lot, you probably know. All right, new business, we did that.
Do we have a date on this?
Oh, I'm sorry,
The date on what?
The public outreach.
hasn't
We
been
don't
set
have
yet.
it yet. That'll be established by the committee, and that will be put out in the same outreach that they did before. It'll be on the town's website. We'll have, we'd like to do an email blast, but we don't know everybody's email address. It's such a huge database of people. We tried that at this point because we just don't have everybody's information, but,
Okay.
I think the word got out pretty well the last time. I mean, we put it out on social media. Everybody that is on Facebook and some of the other social media platforms will see it. And then we'll make sure that the town board has the date and they can provide that date in the next meeting, I would think.
What's our Facebook on that, right? Okay. What's that? At this point? Warrants, let's do the warrants.
I'll make a motion in favor.
Second, all in favor?
Yeah.
All right, now, anybody else have any further comments? Come on up, Jim.
Good evening, Jim Tachik, 387 Brunswick Road. I was sort of waiting for Mr. Simler to be here because he was going to talk about moratorium, solar moratorium,
Yeah.
right? So, okay, I guess I'm just going to hold off on that.
He's up in Alaska.
Yeah, okay.
We'll be back on Monday. I don't remember him ever missing a meeting either, so.
So I just have a couple quick questions. What was the result of there was a consultant hired to study this? Was there a report filed for that?
The solar?
It hasn't been filed yet. Mr. Bonesteel is one of the consultants that we use on that. Hasn't been completed yet, is that correct? That's correct, isn't it, Wayne?
Okay.
Any other questions for Jim on that, on the solar?
Oh, sorry.
No.
Well,
I'll get Wayne up here, but
well, that's it. And then there was one of the other big bits that have to fit together is getting a coordination with the county. And I was wondering whether there's a person from the town who's delegated to do that, and to speak with people at the county, and who the people at the county are. For example, Mr. Phil had been doing this and with
the solar.
with Steve, the assessor.
Yep.
And I was wondering who those corresponding people are now and whether they've made any progress. Because there's only 2 months left on this, or 3 months left on this. 3.
Well, Wayne, geez, don't be afraid to charge us for tonight, are we? Yeah. What's going on with the solar?
We were hired to do technical review. So, I mean, we're not looking at all the other legal stuff. We're just doing a technical review on it. Looking at the electric grid to see where the existing grid is, what the potential is for additional build out of any solar, if there is any. We looked at the zoning code. Looked at some of the technical stuff in the zoning code to see if there's some things that we could tighten up a little bit, some things that we could add. I mean, there's other renewable energy sources that could potentially come to town that we don't have in our code, like battery storage is one. If a firm comes in, and wants to do a battery storage site, you don't have anything to cover that, so we're looking at that. We're looking at, I did meet with a couple of the solar companies, just because they had requested to have some input, so we did have a meeting with a couple of the solar companies just to get their thoughts on our code. I mean, generally, the town of Brunswick's solar code is one of the better codes in the area as far as being up to date, but there is some things that we could improve on. As far as some of the other zoning stuff, I think you kind of caught me off guard on this one.
Yeah,
but
I know.
I'm trying to think, we did
I tried to do that.
I do have a list of things that we've done to date. It's all got to be formulated, put in the report, and then we can meet with the town board and report on that.
Contact with the county, who's the county person, part of the assessment?
We did not meet in contact with the county.
I don't know who we meet with the county.
I'm not sure who you would county planning.
No, there were, for example, the trying to harmonize the fee, the pilot
The
fee,
fees,
for example. And it was,
Pilot's not anything I looked at. It's-
okay.
Yeah,
but that's-
Andy Gilchrist generally handles the pilot
Yeah.
issues, and he's worked with the county all the way through. Mr. Christian, he actually worked on the pilot program. too.
Yeah.
So,
That wasn't part of my scope.
no, it wasn't even within the scope of your.
But this is one of the reasons that the moratorium was put in place,
Oh, yes.
so they can get a harmonized
You're right.
and good return on this. I just would like to.
But the technical stuff and some of the other legal stuff is all kind of gonna be put together in one final discussion.
What idea when the reports, they get done?
Well, I'll meet with Tom again here soon, and we'll go over what we've done so far. And the report will come out as one whole report. It's not gonna be a technical report and legal report. We're gonna put all our stuff together and we'll come out together.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thanks. And I, just one other comment, that, I'm a big solar energy fan, and I was against this, the moratorium that was necessary, but that's neither here nor there. There is a moratorium that is necessary, and that's Hoosick Road development. Yeah, I know, does anybody? Everybody here knows that there's a Chick-fil-A being planned on Hoosick Road at McChesney at the light. Right?
Wow.
That's, everybody's, is everybody here seen the North Greenbush Chick-fil-A?
Yes.
Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah.
This is like an industrial scale, fast food operation. And, I had a quick look at the preliminary plans in Chuck's office, and just the footprint of the Chick-fil-A, I'm not talking about the other, there's gonna be another fast food restaurant, and also a retail store in that same strip. For the Chick-fil-A, it seems to me the length of that was like 350 feet, right? That's longer than, that's 10 feet shy of a full football field, including the end zones. And this seems crazy, to plant something down on that. You think that Hoosick Street can't get any worse. Oh, yes, it can.
Oh, yes.
Well, but anyways, I think there should be a moratorium put on this until at least the CDTC study is finished, right? And hopefully somebody in the town.
But that wouldn't stop that now, because
Why not? No,
that one,
just,
the moratorium, I mean, it wouldn't stop the study of the Chick-fil-A
no, you don't have to
if we
stop
do a
it.
moratorium now, because they're gonna process it.
Well, the solar energy projects that were in process were stopped by the moratorium. Right?
The ones that,
Tom?
the ones that are
I
on there.
don't have it in front of me, Jim, but I think you may be correct.
Right, the ones that were approved, but well, I have it here, I'm not gonna read no, I don't have it. it was everything, it stopped everything in its track that was not approved, okay? And you could do the same thing here.
Yeah.
But because we're gonna have to think about this a little bit more, because you just can't imagine this, with something of that size on there, okay? And then my other comment is about the Walmart the project. It sounds like they started the work before they got the permission for the PDD.
Yeah.
Why?
Right, if they're starting the construction modifications on the building, right, is that part of the PDD?
Chuck, come on up.
I started working with Dewberry Engineering on this starting in March. And they delayed the site plan work, or what would be the initial start for the PDD amendment. I was not aware it was a PDD. So I sent them to the planning board first. So, and then I found out it was a PDD. We had to backtrack and they had to come in front of the town board. I told them that I'm not going to issue a CO until the site plan amendment is complete. So they're going to have the infrastructure there, they're not going to use it.
Well, and then when is that discussion of with the PDD modification? You said there was gonna be a public hearing about this?
No, I said there's gonna be a sketch plan conference, which is the way PDD amendments.
Okay, is that private or is that a public event?
No, it's a town board meeting.
Okay, I thought you said you had set a date for that.
October 12th, 6:30.
Okay, so I asked, so it's gonna be October 12th, what day of the week?
The next town
That's the
board
next
meeting.
town board meeting, 6:30.
All right, okay, thank you.
All
See
right.
you there.
On the other side of the street, Planet Fitness, that area, as you know, there was a proposed apartment complex down in there, 300 or 400 units or whatever it was. When we looked at our zoning, there was a question whether it was allowed or not. Well, I shouldn't say that. It was allowed because it was in a residential area at that point. This litigation right at the moment, all right. What I want to say is we did do a moratorium on that midstream or whatever to take a look at it. We are getting sued over that right now. Very, very expensive. I'm not saying Chick-fil-A we shouldn't just stop and get sued again. I'm not saying that. Planning board's looking at that whole thing, so. Just saying, get lawyers on every corner, so.
People don't listen to us all the time.
And I'm up here talking, so. Anybody else at this point?
So it's Bonnie Fuji from 36 Kellogg Avenue, right? So, every time we talk about Route 7, the general information that we get from the board is that there's nothing you can do because the state is approving these things. Like, well, it's the state that controls the road and where the lights go and all these things. But what the board can do is stop approving businesses on Music Street. I mean, it seems like a no-brainer. I don't even understand why anyone would consider putting another business right in the middle of where all the trouble is.
Maybe I'm
like,
wrong.
move it out.
Maybe I'm wrong, but that's, the zoning is commercial right there. Right now. It's so then when somebody comes in a commercial zone, I can't say go away because it's a commercial now. Do we stop the commercial, change the zoning? That's what we'd have to do. I mean, what happened was, real quick, when we did our comp plan years ago, we said we need a commercial area. And everybody had public hearings, everybody came, or not everybody, but a lot of people came and said, there's water and sewer down there. And if you want your apartments for your seniors, you want this, that's the area. So that was our commercial area. So we, that is our commercial area of the whole
No, I get it.
town. So now what happens is when they come in, we can't say, whoa, no, you go away. They said it's all commercial, so they have a right to apply. I'm just saying, that's why.
Well, they have a right to apply, but can't there be parameters around
And then-
what makes sense in an individual?
And when
case?
Hannaford came, I said to Hannaford, I don't think Route 7 can handle this. I got a concern, the town board's got a concern. Within a week, they came in with a letter from New York State that says, sorry, town officials, we own the road. We think we can have a Hannaford that can handle it. So now you talk about lawyers, I'm trying to stop something there. So it's complicated, it really kind of
Well,
is.
no,
Go
it
ahead.
is, it's just that it seems like maybe then there should be a conversation with the state. I mean, if they're part of this study of the road,
That's what's going on now.
right? And they're looking at how to make it better, but then they're gonna push for approval of a huge draw. I mean, people love those whatever they are, chicken burgers or whatever. Yeah, I'm a vegetarian, so I don't know what they are, but the whole point is, if the state and the town could talk about that a little bit, like, look, this is gonna draw like a lot of traffic. And so what would be the point of devising a plan to improve Route 7? And then 6 months later, after maybe we're hoping things got better, but then we put that in and then we're right, it's like we'd be right back where we started. That would have been a futile
The committee and the state and everybody's aware of this application, so that's getting studied.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, it's just
I'm
my
just saying
opinion.
it's
I mean,
not
I just
sneaking
think,
in.
I don't know, I don't have all the ideas because I just.
and there will be a
heard about
public
this
hearing on
particular
that, correct?
Yes.
Which,
Well, you better get a football field then, because no one's gonna like it. No.
I totally agree. I don't know what's so good about chicken myself. Spend 45 minutes on a fast food line, I don't quite get it, but when people tell me, oh, it's just the beginning and it'll die down, I'm not sure. Anybody else? Come on up.
Louis Sutter, 228 Orchard Road, Town Property. A few town board meetings ago, somebody came up and about to was being paid by the state. And pretty much afterwards, it ended up worse than before. And then we report on.
So what's going on? I'm sorry, say that again.
Pretty much the repaving job made the road worse.
The pavement out here?
About two. When they repaved about two in the beginning of the summer.
Okay.
In Eagle Mills, there's very large bumps. The paving machine went up.
Have you tried Route 7? In my mind, that's a disaster. I thought something was wrong with my car.
I saw they just melted.
Oh, with the paving, there's fresh paving that I'm not impressed with, but it's the state road, it's something to do with me. I wouldn't be happy if my town road looked like that. Now I'm gonna get sued from that.
Well, if we, make a, communicate, complaint to the state, sometimes they fix it, it's like they didn't know they did it.
As you know, the people over at Route 2 were very good. They got a petition together. They asked to reduce the speed. They did their homework. The town board did a resolution supporting it. We sent it to the state. We got a letter back saying, sorry, we're not gonna do anything with that speed. It's our road and we don't see any big problems. After all the residents in the town. So that's what I get, so.
Oh, we can ask, what's they say no, sometimes they say yes, usually they say no. Brings up a second question, we got conflicting speed limits on Route 2 at the new bridge.
What do you got? I'm sorry.
We still have the conflicting speed limits, westbound 55, eastbound 40.
With the state? Yeah.
Have we ever told the state about that? Are they doing anything about it? It comes down much better if the town government complains than if one by one we complain, that's why.
Yeah. We haven't mentioned that before. I don't know what this.
I see, okay, they don't want to change the speed limit, but I can't believe we have a road with, what the problem is, everybody knows it's 55, so they don't do 60, 65. And the people that are doing 40, 45 get in their way. So you got people passing around the curve onto the bridge, and it made a dangerous situation.
Supposedly when that letter went in, they sent engineers out to study that whole corridor. You would think they'd see different problems with different signs or whatever, Apparently not.
Yeah, I think it was a score when they did the bridge, they took the sign down, never put it up.
Yeah.
But if they know about it, maybe they'll do something.
All right.
Thank you.
There was a time in my early career that I was a county legislator. The councilman, and, somebody had the right idea, it wasn't really me, and to run for county legislature, and I did. I got down to the county, and even that part of government, to me, there were 20 county legislature, all kinds of levels. So I gave that up and I came back here, because I figured on this level, if you people call and you got your culvert pipe plugged, at least I can fix the darn thing. Once you start up that ladder, there's so much bureaucracy, so many people, it's just a challenge, so. Anybody else at this point?
Hello.
Hi.
Alex Duggan, 70 Colhammer Avenue, but tonight I'm here as the president of the library board, and whenever I'm here, I always have to thank Sarah for all her wonderful work at the library. As you heard from her report, we are so busy. We're also very grateful to have received the 50/50 raffle a few times this summer at the summer concerts.
The last one was pretty good.
It was really good. We were hoping that that person would donate the other half back to us like they did earlier in the summer, but not this
If
time.
I won, I would, I'd have to.
Thank you, yes, me too. But any opportunities like that for a little extra fundraising for us is always appreciated. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else at this point? That area on the south side of 7, Norfolk and Genesee, I have spent some time down there with Tom. I haven't seen him in years since the sports days, right, Tom? Anne Marie and a few other people. It doesn't take very long to be down there and see the traffic situation. When it seems to zoom in on Norfolk and Genesee seems to be the side roads. Nobody cuts through there, which is good because it still looks like a residential area. We're studying that, the stripes on the road, and it was kind of my idea, something we wanted to try. I did talk to Mr. Longsteel on that. That still is a work in progress. I like to do baby steps. We got to do more down in that area. But I've been tiptoeing a little bit because, as Wayne mentioned, we've got this $100,000 grant study of Route 7. I'm supposed to look at those areas. And for me as a farmer or town supervisor to go down and start doing all this stuff probably wouldn't be wise. The other thing I learned, because I met with a senior group at one point, and some of them was at Key Lane, but some of them live in your Brunswick Meadow development. And they told me that they like to come up and cut through that area, and I'm quite sure they go slow, but they said they don't like it. I'm talking to seniors now.
No, they don't.
They don't want to go up on Route 7, so they pay taxes, they say, that's their roads too. But they like to cut through Norfolk, and stay off of that crazy Route 7. But that road is quite narrow. And one thing that on my mind, and Tom, you take anything to kind of chill out there today? I look at that street and it's quite narrow. I think there might still be a possibility, maybe, we can play this tape back, and maybe that needs to be a one-way in and not out, because it's so darn narrow there. If you do that, it might kick more over in Genesee, I don't know.
No, please don't.
So that's what I'm saying.
We have enough on.
You got enough on Genesee, so that's what I'm saying.
More than enough.
It's not easy things, I'm trying to figure things out. In terms of the sheriffs, talked to the sheriff, they've been very cooperative. However, like I called them today because we got all 400 cars coming on Saturday. There are 2 deputies on this weekend for the whole county. They've been good trying to get down in that area. I think it's a money maker because everybody blows through the crazy stop signs. But they no sooner get there and they have a problem at Walmart, somebody's stealing a candy bar or something, and they leave. So they're there for 15 minutes. And the other thing, as Tom mentioned, and I totally agree, people throw this garbage out all over the street. It's terrible, terrible. My lovely wife had her 3rd knee surgery on the same knee because she had an infection. So I took her to physical therapy over in Route 2, and I pull in, and here's a whole bunch of McDonald's garbage on Route 2 in the parking lot. I can't believe it. So how do you control people being dumb? You know, I don't know. I mean, you can try to catch them and all that, but out in the country where I live, we've had many times where people go on the back road and throw out garbage, tires of garbage we have gone. I personally have gone through, and other people have, and we found, Tracy will tell you that, we found letters, so they're so crazy, of where they lived. The DEC officer has more power than the sheriff or the trooper when it comes to garbage. They've been very, very good, and they've looked these people up. We had couches there, and the dumb people had an address left in that with a letter or something. So I'm just saying it is frustrating. I mean, I feel it, but very complicated. Anybody else? If not, entertain the motion to close the meeting. I did second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, people. No, did you do that? Take it out there. Kevin?